This is Soup City Sins, Season 4, Episode 2, title of which is The Ability to Change. So, the coterie as it stands has been through hell, has made it to the other side, both literally and figuratively, both imaginatively and with all logic possessing their senses. They've had the opportunities to live a different life, to live not bound to the rules and laws of Chicago, to escape the doldrums, the drama, the trauma of their lives, especially as hectic as it has been in the last few weeks. In the doing so, they had the opportunity and the misfortune of experiencing death, of experiencing loss, of experiencing the sundering of bonds that have stretched back years. They've had a taste of true freedom and all of the inherent costs of such a lifestyle. They've escaped the bonds of civil liberty existing in the ivory towers domain. They've bounced from the ivory tower to the sword of Cain to the wild rambling ramble of the anarchs. And they survived even as those lives they lived didn't necessarily do the same. We find ourselves in the morgue of the coterie's haven, and words exchanged, oaths offered, services extended to help Dizzy find if there are any remaining members of her crew. To avenge if they find that is not the case. And as those promises, silent and verbal, filter across from one to the next, Lucio's eyes become a swirling mass of blackness, and his skin takes on a pallid hue, and he falls to the floor in front of you all.
Looking over at Hester, I guess that would be you.
Do I know what happened, or did I see what happened?
You did not. You were still inwardly focused on concocting a plan to get to Winnetka, to get the lodestone and defend the haven, defend yourself, and make sure that what happened doesn't continue happening.
Do I take like? Do I have a good guess as to what happened when I'm looking over at him?
Well, you could definitely triage the issue. You could see whether it's something physical, something emotional, something spiritual. That's up to you. But the one thing that happened was Lucio was speaking to Dizzy in regards to avenging, to finding, to helping, and he went stock still. His eyes swirled with the mass of darkness from the other side. His hands reached forward, and then he fell.
But I didn't hear him talking to Force Appealist?
No.
Oh, that's where my first guess is gonna go, though. I'm gonna look for Force Appealist.
Okay. Well, reaching beyond the veil, go ahead and give me that roll, dear. For your aspects. In case you were wondering. Oh, yes, Force Appealist is not only back, has made it back from whatever hunt you released him to, but he's hovering over Lucio as if it was Christmas Day. And he's just come downstairs and found that puppy that somehow didn't whine its way into the morning, rubbing two of its 8 arms Sapula is crouched and looking on as if this is the most exciting thing that it has seen.
Very pointedly. Did we forget that he is a coterie member? Did you break the deal that we made?
I'm a being of my word. I wouldn't possess any of the coterie or protect. We have a deal. I honor my deal.
Tricky, I can see. Now I know why those wolves want you.
Their lack of understanding is my responsibility. Your loss, not mine. If you let them in, making them...
You don't think they'd find you?
I relish the opportunity. It's the Uratha again. Many battles. And I'm here, and they're not.
Yeah. See how long that lasts, I guess. Anyway, what's going on with him? I know you have something to do with it.
Knowledge comes at a price. Just like birth. And this one doesn't taste of death, but it tastes of the maelstrom beyond the world. And it's tasty. And then Sapula stands up and moves closer to you, resting his head on his folded hands in front of you. Looking at it from a distance, it would seem as if he was in supplication or praying to you, but there's something unsettling about him being so subservient in physicality. Something borderline dishonest about it. But how was your evening?
You ask that like you don't already know.
There's knowing and then there's being told. I prefer being told. I like listening to lies.
Well, like you said, information is pricey, costly. You want something from me, right?
What are you offering?
I'm not going to tell you what it is I found out, but whatever was done, Lucy, I want undone.
You want what?
Whatever you have done to him that caused him to be as he is, I want ended. And you should take a break for a couple nights. Be somewhere else that is not here.
So I guess the honeymoon's over, huh? We're not friends anymore.
I never said we were friends. You said you didn't have any friends, remember?
Yes, but you're not me.
And I told you I had friends, and I'm fine with that. That's why I'm protective of those that I call friends. Do you want the deal or not? I don't have a lot of time.
You have as much time as you can Eke out. You're not gonna die of natural causes.
But I have things I need to get to tonight. And he is a part of those things that I need to get to tonight. So, again.
Keep your secrets. And he looks back over his shoulder as Lucio rouses. There is a definitive animalistic edge to him. There's no way to hide that he is supernally hungry.
Yeah. I'm fine. I don't need you speaking for me with this being.
Did you forget you were just on before you didn't know what's going on? And I'm not speaking for you, I'm speaking as myself, as a protector of this coterie.
He has not hurt me, I assure
I've
you.
with this being before. Not you.
Well, now I'm dealing with him. And I assure you, he has not harmed me. In fact, and Lucio looks at himself, and he's going to take a little bit of a risk here, and finally activate that new wonderful power, Arms of Ahriman. And I will go ahead and make that rouse check. Ooh, fun.
All right, so several things happen at once, as they tend to do in these situations. In attempting to prove that he was not as far gone or not as in the grips of his beast as he is, the darkness around Lucio intensifies to the point that it begins to pull in light around him. The shadows ooze and ebb and form these tendrils of pure, inky darkness. A darkness and shadow so deep that they seem to pull in light wherever it touches. And his face goes from Lucio's face to a demonstrably bestial version of it. The shadows around his eyes grow darker. His pupils disappear in a cloud of tenebrous shadow, an umbral state made flesh. And depending on his ability to restrain himself, i.e. at this point, Lucio, go ahead and roll your unspent willpower, or you can spend a willpower to take a non-feeding action.
I'm gonna roll the unspent willpower, but just a heads up, I think I still have that
You do.
that blood canister. 3 successes on the unspent willpower.
You are able to control yourself because your feet and the tendrils have begun to carry you towards the very open and very visible blood vitae mixture that's sitting on Hestia's work area here in the morgue. You stop yourself just barely and hover over it as if you're Bela Lugosi preparing to feed from a victim in a black and white cereal. And you remember the canister. There's no attempt for anything other than sheer reckless abandon and obtaining as much blood as you can. You bite through the thermos and drain it as if you're shotgunning a 40 ounce. You all are privy to these actions on Lucio's part, including the very real and seemingly physical manifestation of shadow that is surrounding him and moving of its own volition, it seems.
Can we see, or is it like a
Yes.
black blob?
No. It is very much a series of shadowy tentacles and tendrils that are moving and wisping as if there's a wind, or it has a mind of its own as it lashes towards the blood on Esther's table, as it moves about him, straightening pants, legs, and smoothing cuffs, and as he drains a thermos in the most Chad-like college manner you guys have seen.
So is there something like a broom or something like with a stick handle?
No, I can't say that Tasha has really had to use a broom down here.
A chair?
Yes, there are stools.
Okay, I'm gonna grab a stool and gonna poke the blackness just to see what happens. You know, the scientific method way.
When in doubt, poke it with a stick? Yes. That has the unexpected result of it moving out of the way. Not lashing out at you violently, but it's clear that there is a certain predatory instinct on it because it dodges the chair leg and flinches towards you, but stops short of actually completing the action.
Oh, fuck no. So, fire? Holy water? Something?
Take a very deep, very tired sigh. Well, if we were ever going to do the work, Sabat, there goes that. Okay, though. Interesting.
And while everyone else is being super calm about this, Dizzy yells, "Sabat, ambush!" and dives for cover somewhere.
But I am asking for fire, so not that counts. When Dizzy screams about Sabbath, I'm just like, try to get behind something else.
Lucio, that's almost an instinctual response that Newberry had when attacked you in the elevator. You ripped out his eye, and the carnage and death that happened around you, the memory of that brings you more focusedly into now. With your hunger being at 1, you are more composed, though the loss of your very precious, very expensive blood sample is something that you will probably carry with you for a few nights. But the idea that your coterie, your coterie's associates, your people are responding out of fear in this moment brings you more firmly back into this moment.
At this point, I will dismiss the arms of Ahriman. I think I've flexed enough. After they're gone, Lucio takes a deep, unneeded breath, adjusts his suit, dusts himself off, and turns to the rest of the coterie. All right. What's our game plan?
First, let's not do that again.
What was that?
First, I don't know what that was, but I didn't like it.
You know, honestly, I didn't think I'd like it at first either, but god damn. Power feels good.
That's fair.
Why
But
is
you
no one
know-
running?
Great power and all.
Yes, with great power comes great irresponsibility. Or something similar to that.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing since you've been gone.
See, I think now with this, before I was running scared of the Sabbat. Now, I think we might have a chance to beat them at their own game, so to speak.
What do you mean?
I mean, if we have another pack of near mindless La Sombra attack our haven again, they're not the only ones who will be able to run and mess with the shadows.
That's fair.
All right. So, some ground rules. So, right, if you touch me with one of those things, I'm gonna try my hardest to shove it up your ass. Clear?
Duly noted.
All right. Well,
I'm so confused.
Dizzy, Lucio, Dizzy, he's not Stabbit, he's just Lucio.
Sure, that's perfectly normal. Okay, that's good. I'll be over here trying not to cry.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I can try to explain this in a more normal way. Dizzy, Lucio was meant to be killed. They made him as a scapegoat. He survived. So the people that created him or that brought him over are not good people, and they're the same people that we were scared of and want to fight. He's on our side, as far as I know, and as far as I've seen. We've all helped each other and been a team. So you don't particularly have to be scared of him the way you would a normal member of the Sabbat, because technically he is not Sabbat. It's like a dog is a dog, but you can have chihuahuas and pit bulls. A chihuahua is not a pit bull sort of situation.
It's cool. I just it's the same that if you have a stick with a bunch of bees in the top, keep it away from me. We are cool.
I mean, with all due respect, I'm afraid of everybody in this room, including me. So, I mean, anything could happen. I get that he's friendly, but that was just weird. And I don't know what's going on. So I'm just going to sit over here and stare at my hands, and you guys talk.
So, how are we going to clean up this mess that we're in? Do anybody have a clear idea where that lodestone was?
It was buried in the cemetery at Winnetka at a specific grave. We can
Okay.
retrieve it, but we need to be prepared for retrieving it because we've already seen what it can do. And we don't want to end up back in the city that they ended up in. We want to be able to get into Winnetka, get the stone, and get back. I don't know what we're going to do with it once we get it. That's why we need to plan first, because I don't I don't know if it would necessarily be safe here. This is what we need to figure out before we go get it.
I don't think it's safe anywhere.
I agree with both of you. It's not safe anywhere, but I'll feel safer if it's not in anyone else's hands except for ours.
I mean, we do have places within the hospital itself that are hard to reach, and unless you know where to look, you wouldn't know where to look. So we could hide it here until we know better what to do with it. It's just the problem is, I wouldn't be able to put my wards back up because it undoes wards. Which I'm already having a problem with my wards because we've had too many people coming in and out, but at the same time, I agree it would be better off here than elsewhere so that we know it's out of other people's hands.
Do you have somewhere that's here but not here?
We could probably put it somewhere far enough from, well, within this building, but far enough away where she can shield everywhere around it, but not it itself like a donut.
There is also the theoretical possibility of trying to destroy it if we feel that it's so dangerous that no one should be allowed to use it.
With fire. Destroy it with fire.
Do you know how to destroy it? Because if not, I don't see it. Because if it can't bleed, I can't do much for it.
But I have an idea of how to, knowing that I know what it is, but I have an idea of how to destroy it, if that should come to it.
There are always ideas as to how you could purify things and destroy them. Whether that's 100% accurate or not, unfortunately, with it being what it is, being a piece of the first city, being something of the spiritual plane made into reality, it would take trial and effort, but there are definitely paths to obliterate them.
I don't think we need to obliterate it, actually. I think we just need to hide it.
Well, it's hidden now in the Winnetka cemetery that you all placed it in. It is still there. No one knows that it's there except for you all at this point.
That we know of.
But like everything is drawn to power, so would it be a chance if we left it there that things would be drawn to it and not stop until they figured out what it is?
Eventually, yes.
So, like I said, we're best off probably moving it, and so that we can keep an eye on it.
All right. So, what's you guys' order of operation? What's your plan? What would you like to do?
Just to clarify, storyteller, was Winnetka, is that the place that Martin said that Myers was meeting with Sabat, or was that a different place?
That was a different place, but you and Martin did discuss the fact that there were Sabat in the city. And Simone, a few weeks ago, did tell you all that there were Sabat in Winnetka. And based on what Dizzy Hestia discussed with you in regards to Winnetka, just a few short, unfortunately, even though it seemed much longer, a few short moments ago, before your trip into the Never Never of Austin's memories, Yeah, they were in Winnetka, and they're demons, and a madhouse, and a insane asylum that seems to capture and experiment on, or just torture, kindred. All in Winnetka.
Oh, sounds like a lovely place.
It is. It's one of the older outlying suburbs. It's a little sleepy town filled with monsters. And then you have the kindred as well, so you know.
Once again, the police are looking for outfit, so I can't go. Or I have to be really oriented.
I just want to point out, guys, that I barely know. If I don't know how much of a sense you got of that thing while you were whatever we were doing there. I'm not real clear on that either, but I've been in this thing's presence and it is real alluring.
I mean, I think we've all had some experience with it, in the memories at least.
That's what I'm trying to plan for.
Alston certainly had his opinions about it.
Right, but in my limited understanding of this, you are not Alston, so the way that you react to it is going to be different than the way that he remembered it.
That is a fair point.
Is there a way we can put it inside something like a sack so that we don't actually have to touch it or come into direct contact with it?
That was my idea. I'm going to get a bag, and I'm also going to get a lead-lined box. Seeing as how none of us have to worry about lead poisoning.
It does horrible things to your skin.
What was that? They got a little jumbled.
I said lead does horrible things to the skin.
So does my foot in your ass. Stop messing with me right now. I need to figure this out.
I don't know enough about the occult to tell you how, but I would think of much like a grenade, and I would try to find a way to A, make sure it's not come in contact, and B, still be portable enough so that we can get in, get it, and get out. My question is, if we're bringing it back here, we need to figure out some way to A, keep it here, but B, you being able to reactivate your wards, otherwise they can get out of hand really quick.
Okay, storyteller. What I know of lodestones, what I know about approximate area of effect, or is it based on the specific stone itself?
It is.
Yeah.
It is definitively based on each individual stone and their ties to their land and place of origin. And in your case, in this particular stone's case, this land and place of origin doesn't technically exist anymore, even though it exists in the other side of the world, and the other side of the not real plane of existence, Shadowlands, the Oblivion, that spectral spiritual realm that doesn't actually have a physical locality.
And would I know whether, like I said, a lead-lined box would help or not? Because I know certain metals affect magic properties.
Yes, they do.
So what I'm suggesting is we get a footlocker style box with some sort of lining, and then a bag on top of that, so that we can put the box in the bag, and then the bag box inside the footlocker and lock it for transport, and then store it in that box wherever we decide inside the hospital.
I have an alternative proposition. So I don't know if any of you have met Arsenio, but I have a friend who might be able to help us move this without being too heavily affected by it.
How so?
I through certain influences from a certain Cameron may have ghouled someone, and that person may be unquestionably willing to move this lodestone for us. Now, him being a ghoul, he would most likely have a more minimal effect on himself. It would have a smaller effect on him than it would on us. This lodestone seems to have some deeper ties to vampiric nature. It seems to be affecting us quite extensively because of our nature. But that would mean that it would have most likely less of an effect on someone who's already mortal. Granted, it probably wouldn't be completely safe for him. He might get, a little, might make him a little high, but hey, that's normal for him.
That's fair.
Look, I know it's a little awkward that I haven't really introduced you guys to my introduced you to my ghoul, and I don't really know what the coterie's policy is on ghouls, but Cameron, maybe do it.
Of course,
I mean, aren't they just like junkies? And you really trust the junkie?
Well, I mean, in a way, they're junkies, but I'm their supplier.
I'm pretty sure if I give him the stuff, he will come to me. That's how addiction works, basically.
Right, but there is that whole blood bond thing.
All right, it's, at this point, as long as that thing it's far away, I'm willing to risk almost anything.
I think maybe we can try having him help move it.
Okay, how about this? We'll get him and you, and a couple of bucks we can go. He can grab it, put it in the box, and then we can keep the box, bring it here, unload it with his help, and then we'll figure out what to do with it.
Okay, that seems like a decent idea.
That's it. What do you think?
after he said ghoul, Hestia is pretty much shut off. She's looking at them both and listening, but there's this very, I want to say, vindictive grin on her face because somebody's going to get hurt later, but not right now because they have things.
Is you up for a road trip?
Who was that directed at? I didn't hear.
Dizzy.
I mean, sure. I'm always up for a road trip.
Alright, so you guys have to figure out how I can get with you guys because, like I said, the police out there are looking for me and they're looking to kill me out there. So we have to figure out how I can get there without being seen.
Funny how many people want to do that tonight, huh?
Yeah, it's Wednesday. My total's a little low today, actually.
All right, let me go in my lab and look for a box that we can put this thing in, and then we'll leave in about 20 minutes. Hopefully, it'll take us about an hour.
An hour one way and an hour back.
It'll take a
Now here's the thing that you all that just to verify that what the coterie has decided to do is the most important thing at this moment for the remainder of your evening. Remember, it's been a very hectic time. Is obtaining that body to remove it from the cemetery where it was placed and hidden, and bring it back to coterie. That's the most important thing for you all this evening. To end your evening on. I.e., just verifying that the idea is that this is first and foremost.
well, when you say it like that, it makes me second guess.
Exactly. Is there something that we should have been doing before we got sidetracked with that?
Well,
Have we attended to all the bodies?
Have
No.
my sister and Faye been released by the police yet?
your touchstone Kamal is working on that. That would take roughly 20 minutes from when you last spoke to him, which was roughly about an hour ago at this point. As far as the bodies, 2 have been broken down. Simone brought in a third before you all began the memoriam by using the previously already obtained blood, which means there is still a very abused body of a thin blood addict laying on the table. The other 2 bodies, while divested of their blood and vitae, while mostly broken down, aren't completely destroyed nor incinerated. You all still have the uproar caused by the Shadow Kings flexing their muscles lightly and driving home the point that your time is up. There is still the fact that Alex is still not returned to the Haven, and no one knows where he is. There is still very, very much pressing the fact that there was a body of a newly formed kindred behind Oasis, and there very much is the fact that just this evening you all pushed a very independently minded kindred into frenzy in a bar with mortals.
Now, you say we on that last one.
All for one, one for all. Is speaking in the royal we, the entirety of the coterie being connected, their ties of loyalty and friendship and journeys already survived, counting as a we.
Now that you said that, okay. I think we might be able to leave the stone until at least tomorrow night. But it still needs to be high priority. We have other things we need to sort out. First of all, I need to finish breaking down these bodies and getting rid of the evidence. We also need to get your sister out of jail if she isn't already released. I was gonna send some money for her bail, so that can be taken care of in the office upstairs.
Hey, did anyone
Also,
see
I
where
guess-
Aiden went?
Yeah, where is they?
Also, who is Aiden? I don't think I was properly introduced.
I'll raise you one better. What is Aiden?
Why is Aiden?
Why is Aiden is my question first, but whatever.
I don't think we've asked the most important question. How is Aiden?
That's true.
No, I asked him that earlier. He's not having a good night.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Maybe we should start off by getting Aiden either 86 or out of 80. I'll go with start there.
Actually, that reminds me. Norris said that Aiden was not a good person to have around the coterie because he would bring. What did he say?
Was
He
it
would bring
three
the
other,
trash.
like the 3 cracked out thin bloods that we had to kill?
Yeah, that.
Or, I mean, to be fair, they did mostly kill themselves.
Well, you know, once you pop, you can't stop.
It is what it is, so we still need to find them. So how do you guys want to break down the search pattern? Concentric circles, or you want to take a different direction, a different cardinal direction, or how you guys want to do it together, split up games?
Well, I have to be here doing the body thing because I'm pretty sure no one else knows how to break down bodies but me, right?
Yeah,
All right.
that makes sense.
Maybe we can put the picture on some milk cartons or something like that.
I mean, he couldn't have gone far. It's only been a few minutes since, we saw him.
All right. General direction.
Well, there are 2 ways to go: either out the morgue and up into the haven, or the shelter, or out the ramp up the long way out the back secret entrance.
I'll go that way. The secret entrance, I'll go that way. You guys take the other direction, and we'll see what we meet up with.
All right.
If anyone needs me, send me a text message. I'll come running back. I'm only gonna be about 5 minutes away. I'll start heading that way.
All right, who's going through the haven and up that route? Being as Simone is taking the very dark and spooky secret entrance of the tunnel leading to you guys' sub basement where the morgue is.
Yeah, I'm going.
All right, that being the case, both Clyde and Simone, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your wits and awareness? I'm taking it that you guys are, doing the look high, look low, talking to yourselves as you make your way out looking for your recently adopted, temporarily thin-blooded friend, Aiden. Which leaves Lucio and Hestia an opportunity to speak amongst themselves. Lucio, Hestia, and Dizzy.
At this point, Lucio will turn to Hestia. So I know not too long ago we spoke about trying to coordinate better. I'm sorry about these last few nights that I've been away, but some things had to be taken care of. I see that in my absence things got quite hectic.
Yeah, pretty much. It's been a very trying year. I almost miss when I was first turned. I mean, the only thing I had to worry about then was people trying to kill my sire, but geez, it's gotten really crazy since I've hit my 75th year. I don't understand why, but yeah, it's gotten a little crazy. Hopefully, we'll get this all sorted out and it'll stop. Because I really don't know how much more of this I can take.
About what I said earlier about Myers, I think there's someone you should talk to. His name's Martin, and he was the one who told me about what I told you about this meeting in about this meeting with the Sabbat. He's probably not going to be too happy that I told you, but I felt that you deserved to know, and I think that would be a good idea for you two to meet and speak.
While I agree that I would like to speak to this person, very much speak to this person about the things that they were saying about Myers and why they feel this way, I think I would like to speak to him first. I won't say what I heard, but I think I'd like to ask some questions. He has never lied to me that I'm aware of, and he has had plenty of opportunity to lie to me, but has never done so.
Myers did defend us at the trial, all those many moons ago. I mean, if it weren't for what Martin said, I'd basically have a image of a perfect person in my head about this guy, but if this is what you want, that's fine. I fully support your decision in this. I will do what I can to set up a meeting with you and Martin. And you do what you must.
Out of curiosity, by the way, how did Martin meet Myers, and how did you meet Martin?
So, Martin was apparently sent to meet me to establish connections between myself and the Blood Tsar of the city. By the way, that meeting is possibly gone pretty well, but that's a tangent for another time. He mentioned that it was Myers that had attempted to set up this connection. And it seems that Myers, if not trusts him, then at least uses him. Martin I'm not entirely sure how they've met, but from what I did speak with him, they have quite a history together, going back several decades. Apparently, he knew Myers' original coterie. He
That is what
also
I'm doing.
he also apparently, if not personally, then at least by name or reputation, knew my grandsire. And was surprised to find out that she was Sabat as well. I'm not really entirely sure what to make of that. But it is what it is, I suppose.
Sure, we have much to find out together because it seems like somebody from both of our paths is lying to us or lying to each other, which makes them lie to us.
It's entirely possible that this is a misunderstanding.
I'd like this episode, but I'm not stupid. So we'll go with that for now, though, so that we're not constantly worried about it and going back and forth about it. I think we should get as much information as we can. So you said Myers sent this Martin person, who they know, to meet you to introduce you to somebody else, which was the Blood Czar. And you met this person, and the meeting went pretty well, that you can tell.
Well, there's a good possibility that I'm going to be working for them as a dealer. I just have to deliver some sensitive information to them.
Oh. A few nights change so much around here. You go from this innocent detective boy to a blood dealer. Oh my.
Hey, it's not drugs, okay? I know we're all addicted to blood, but blood is not in itself a drug. Now,
That's
that
the
being
plan.
said, we do have some selections that incorporate drugs in the blood. If you are interested, I will see what I can do.
I'd like to say that while this conversation is going on, I am very methodically, because I've already done this twice tonight and multiple times in the past week, dispatching the body like it's just a chicken carcass. I can talk and pay attention to them and do what I have to do with muscle memory.
Well, to draw a fine point on that imagery, while butchering a chicken would be a little easier to stomach. The reason why that's not exactly accurate is for a lot of people, especially involved in the occult or involved in cannibalism, humans are called long pork for a reason, because of the sheer weight and size. So while you can easily gloss over and glaze over the idea of what you're doing with a smaller animal, such as a chicken or even a goat, the human cadaver, however, there is no mistaking it without practice that Hestia has. But for anyone watching, it is very much not a simple, clean, straightforward moment. The sheer sounds of the vacuum being broken, of the body being cracked open, the ribs being split, the heart divested of its blood, the lungs being weighed and emptied because there are still viscera and vitae and very usable blood for magic and for the very real beast inside your gullet, in all of those organs, including in the muscles. By divesting them of as much liquid as possible, they cook a little bit faster in the oven. They are disappeared far more thoroughly if they are divested of as much liquid matter as possible. And for that to happen, there is as Hestia speaks and moves with precision and skill, there's a squelching and a cracking and a sucking that's accompanies each cut, tear, a slice here, a very skillful incision there, the draining of this being last vestiges of life. So, in other words, Dizzy, Lucio, not being scientists, not being exposed to the very real aspects of death, just a few days ago, this would have driven Lucio absolutely mad. But here in the now, he's a little more able to tolerate what's happening, partially because Hestia is speaking to him, partially because there's so much information that he's relating and conveying as well as absorbing from Hestia. But Dizzy, there's no such tie to you. Everything they're speaking might as well be Greek or a, four-dimensional chess. So the sounds and the sense, the very real fact that the beast inside your gullet knows that that's blood. That is the most intoxicating, enriching aspect of all things being broken down just a few feet from you. And while that's present on everyone's foremost mind, Clyde, I didn't get your roll, but we're going to use Simone's roll for when you head upstairs through into the Haven.
Sorry. Yep. Go ahead.
As you make your way into the Haven, you see the sights and sounds that have presaged most or ended most of the most recent drama in your life. Being this close to humans, having fed on a portion of the people that reside here, having risked so much, having called in the favor with your primogen, and stood face to face with a person, with a kindred, that very honestly stated that they would like to suck your very soul dry. Brings back all sorts of warm and fuzzy feelings. And with Amalia still being in the hospital, still being injured, still being unable to carry out her duties and responsibilities here, there is that sense of absence. You know that you and Newberry did your absolute best and made sure that no one was privy to those night's events, at least not as they actually happened. But there is that feeling of absence. There's that pregnant pause of expectation as just this evening, the police were through the Haven. They were here inviolably and taking away members of the staff, of the volunteer staff, but staff nonetheless, people that were counted on. But you can see on the faces of the people you pass that very real having survived enemy encroachment on their safety, on their sanctum, on their home. And then you hear some small bit of argument coming from the kitchen. You don't belong back here. If y'all want to be served, you're supposed to wait. But even if Amalia not here or not, y'all get out of here. Hey, man, be easy. I had a meatball sandwich the other night. It was great. I was just looking for more of the same. Get out of my motherfucking kitchen.
Seems that the residents are a bit on the edge.
Yeah.
Alright, so I have a new trick up my sleeve. Let me just very quickly. I can try to calm most everybody I see, but I don't know how much blood does that gonna cost.
That depends on your successes.
Alright, so mass manipulation costs 1 rouse check, and then a second rouse check for the second thing that you are gonna pile up on it, which I think it's mesmerize. So does that sounds feasible?
So you're going to attempt to head into the kitchen and mesmerize whatever the situation is.
Basically, I'm gonna roam the entire thing and just telling everybody calm down. And since I can do mass manipulation, I think it's just a matter of getting everybody's eyes on me, if I'm reading this correctly.
Oh, so you're going to try to mass hypnotize them into a calm state? Is that what you're going to try to do?
Yep, basically. Yes. Can I? Hello?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So... Alright, so you're...
So that's 2 rouse checks at least?
So you're going to go pull the fire alarm and get everybody rushing out towards you or out of the building?
No, as I walk in the halls of the house, everybody I encounter is like, calm down, everything's gonna be alright, just remain calm. We are working on it. Just go back to your rooms. Everything is alright. That sort of thing. Everybody that I'm crossing paths with, I'm gonna try to do that if it's possible. If I need to do it in just one go, then I'm gonna try to call a meeting or something.
Okay. Let's do this to signify your efforts over the next few minutes as you make your way through the shelter. Now, just to clarify, are you heading into the kitchen where you heard the sounds of arguments, or are you slowly working your way there, mesmerizing everyone you meet into being in a calm state?
I think I'm gonna start in the kitchen and then work my way out of there.
Okay, so you head into the kitchen where you hear the argument, well, the vociferously raised voices and profanity issuing. Aiden is standing near the doorway. It's clear that he's backed a few paces back as 2 of the workers are silently joined in arms together for having worked together for so long and not recognizing his face. And even if they did, the way that he's dressed with the surplus clothing, he very much does look like one of the members of the shelter, one of those who live in the shelter, not working in the shelter. He does not look like a volunteer or one of the upper staff members. He very much looks like someone fresh off the streets or, recently added to the streets. So his attempt to walk into the kitchen and take what he wanted, which was a meal or a bag of chips, resulted in a near physical altercation. One of the staff members holding him at bay is holding a chef's knife. The other is holding a cast iron skillet.
Okay. Yeah, let me try to defuse this one first and then whatever comes. So first rouse check is a success, then second rouse check. The first one will be for mass manipulation, the second I'm guessing for mesmerize.
Alright, sounds like a plan. So first things first.
2 successes. So 2 rouse checks, the 2 rouse checks are successful, sorry.
Nope, not a problem. Go ahead, roll your manipulation plus dominate. And they get an opportunity. Well, he gets an opportunity of intelligence plus resolve. Let's see what the very real, very potent, and fickle gods of dice have to say in regards to that.
Right. Manipulation, dominate. Right. Seven successes and a messy critical.
Yeah, that messy critical is not. All right, so give me 1 quick second here because it didn't roll. them says there's no way that he's going to succeed anyway, so we're going to go ahead.
Yep.
All right, so 6, but messy critical. So, what is your order? What are you attempting to say?
Everybody calm the fuck down.
You mean it to come out in a manner that's soothing, maybe a little Tony Robbins-like in terms of how violently it's put across. Somehow, in the attempt of reaching and connecting with all the minds in the kitchen, not just the 3 who are facing off with the very real probability of violence erupting, but everyone in the kitchen receives your fangiest, most guttural, calm the fuck down. Instead of the calm the fuck down, everyone, your inner vampiric voice rises to the fore. There is nothing remotely human about what you just did. There is an unnerving, unsettling reality that there are things in the world, but not of it, and definitely not of heaven. Your fangs are on full display. Your face seems cast in the starkest of shadows, and the real force of your personality, all 100 plus voices in your head, echo through your mouth as the order is not only heard and seen, but felt on a very visceral level. The clattering of the cast iron lets you know how effective your words were, as both the knife falls from his hands, Aiden's hands go higher, and he sits with no in between, from standing to sitting in a blink of an eye. It wasn't me. I was just hungry, and I'm sorry, man. Look, it was them. Please don't eat me like you did the other.
All right, let me see if I can do a little damage control. Which I'm guessing will be cloud memory.
We're gonna do the full Monty. We're gonna do a full run of your manipulations. Let's see how good you are at this, Clyde. You vented yourself, and somehow it brings you more back to what's going on.
Yeah.
The full responses of those around you.
I'm probably just like still unnerved by the celebration thing. Put my thumb and forefinger in the bridge of my nose and said, "Alright, didn't mean it like that. So, friends, and then let me see if I can make them forget the last 5 seconds, or 15 seconds, or however much this took."
All right, let's see what we got.
So this is charisma plus dominate.
Mm-hmm.
Check, right, so... Alright, 6 successes.
There's a quizzical look that falls over everyone's face as they're not sure what happened. They were in the kitchen, and then the bum came walking through the door. Why? Y'all gotta get out of the kitchen. Y'all are not supposed to be back here. Malia wouldn't like that. Y'all need to just go back out there. Aiden frowns, looks at the fact that he's sitting on the floor. He's woken up in worse places, so he's not really that put off. Guess got any chips?
Who's the one that was hungry?
That's Aiden, who's asking you if you have money for chips, or could you get him some chips, or a nice meatball sandwich? That would be great right about now. Do you eat food? Like, can you eat something besides other people? But he looks at the people, the staff members, and he lowers his voice. I mean, like, can you eat something that wouldn't be me, them. I don't mind that. I don't care about them, but I don't think the others would like that too much. Got some money for some chips?
He had something in his hands, right? Like chips or something like that.
No, he was trying to obtain that. He was going to get food.
Okay. Say, you know what? All right. Aiden, was it?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna give you a 20, but we need to talk first.
Hey, I'm straight.
No, it's not like that.
Okay. Like I don't mind. Like it's none of my business. A little touch is okay, but you seem like the guy that would I don't know, pay for a night somewhere. You wouldn't, would you?
You can sleep here as long as you don't barge into the kitchen and try to respect the schedule of the meals.
Yeah. I just thought it was cool. Like Hester gave me the meatball sandwich last night, so I thought that I could,
It's alright, mate. Just ask around. I'm sure somebody will explain things to you first, but. And I really need to have a word in private. All right.
Yeah.
Out of character. Does Hesche actually knows his pool or something like that, or at least knows about vampires?
Well, yeah. He's definitely been accepted by Hesche and Alex and Busy, and had been hanging out with you guys, and what he says sounds about right. Hesher definitely would take care of guests as best as she can.
Is this the guy that we were looking for?
Yep.
Okay. I mean, Hesher needs a word, and he sent me to look for you. So.
Oh yeah. Let me get some. Do you think the machine's gonna take the 20, or you want me to kind of walk to the McDonald's a couple of blocks over and get a bite?
No. Go to his chair, and then on your way back, I'll give you the 20. Right?
Okay, man.
So is DC down there actually? Is DC down there?
Yeah, Dizzy's still down in the morgue with Lucio and
I'm gonna say, look for DC. Tell her that I sent you, and then I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna give him a $5. I'll give you the rest when you go. When you come back. All right.
Yeah, man.
All right. Just to make sure he doesn't run. Let's do the last dominate thing. What do I have? Let's run a second mesmerizing. Okay.
Okay.
I need to rouse for that. So. Success. All right. Go straight for DC. Okay.
Yeah. No problem, man. Thanks for being so cool and understanding.
Yeah, no problem. Oh, sorry. I need to actually roll. Right. It was just my. It was just my rouse. That would be 10. One of these. All right. 3 successes.
All right. So you've reached into his mind several times this evening, and not just his mind, but the mind of some of the staff members in the kitchen. You didn't get the opportunity to see the long-lasting effects of such, but there's a portion of you that knows it's like being exposed to electroshock therapy too often and too regular. If it compounds itself too much. Just so that you are 100% aware. There is, especially when there's no defense, you slice right through their mental walls and interrupt synapses and rearrange them to suit your needs. And as you follow very loosely behind him, as he makes his way back through the shelter and through the little hidey hole in the back of the manager's office and starts heading downstairs. Where is Simone? And exactly at that moment, as you just made it upstairs and Simone is circling up and through the tunnel, as dark as it was, the only light, his cell phone screen, as you receive that message, and you make it your way out of the tunnel and realize, son of a bitch, in the last 2 weeks, you all have entered and exited this tunnel, your secret entrance. As obfuscated as you've tried to attempt to make it, you've entered in and out of this tunnel more in the last 2 weeks than you have in the last 6 years. There is no way with anyone with any semblance of awareness who happen to be in the area or who have existed in the area would not have noticed that uptick of the entrances and exits for people coming up and down this relative darkened space. Simone.
Is anyone in the general area as of right now?
Anyone in the general area? Go ahead and give me that quick wits and either subterfuge or streetwise as you pause and begin to scan the horizon lines to look over the buildings with somewhat unobstructed view of this area of the block. Those alleys just there at the edge of line of sight, and the passing cars as well as the parked cars, because that's one of the best ways to blend in this to the surroundings of a city. Simply sit in a lightly tinted windowed vehicle and wait and watch. Oh yeah, you see the telltale signs that there has been a car parked right at the edge of the property, and the telltale sign being is typically on a stakeout. Even what rookies tend to do, or people not accustomed to waiting and being patient, they'll dump their garbage out right on the side of the car and keep it moving, because after all, the city's dirty to begin with. But to the trained eye, the proliferation of food and cigarettes and the build-up debris of someone living in a small space, even if it is just for a day or two, is distinctively different than something casually littered. You find yourself at the corner looking over the garbage. There's a proliferation of actual food wrappers and 7-Eleven grilled roller boxes and hot dog oil, and definitely non-menthol cigarettes.
Is there a way for me to kind of search my memory to think of, generally speaking, what type of car was here? Like SUV, sedan, tinted windows, anything that would stick out to a trained eye?
Yeah. As you stand here and look at the haven and the shelter from this distance, you realize that 5 days ago, when you all disposed of the bodies from the beach, there was a beater of a Chevy Caprice, or was it an Impala? Either way, it was a boxy, old school police styled Chevy, which had been sitting here. And then as you think back, yeah, it didn't stand out at the time, and it doesn't really stand out normally, but that styled car and the fact that there were 2 or 3 people inside, maybe it was 4. But it didn't stand out too much because you guys had other things on mind, and then they weren't here. than they were. She thought they were people that lived in the neighborhood, maybe one of the bangers that live a block or two over, maybe one of the homeless of the shelter who decided to stay in their car. So it was normal and accustomed, but just outside of that.
Make a mental note of that, and then I just kind of patrol the area, sticking to the shadows, seeing if anything in our general area of our haven, just kind of walking the perimeter, seeing if anything jumped out at me, like the beater being parked in a different location, or whether or not I can see anybody else parking, like are they watching the haven from different angles, different areas? Um, just try to make a full sweep of the area to see if anything sticks out to me.
Yeah, there's something that stands out to you all. And all of the increased activity with the shelter and the ambulances and the police, there's one of the faces you recognize from being in the shelter, sleeping in the alley across the street.
Who is it?
Just one of the many regularly non-transient members of the shelter. She is not quite as old as Amalia, but clearly she's lived a very rough and tumble life, and she is sleeping.
She's sleeping soundly over here.
Yep. Instead of sleeping or getting a bed in the shelter, she has chosen to sleep outside. You recognize the face, even though she turns away from you like she would as if you were the average member of the populace that walk over, ignore, turn a blind eye to the homeless that are usually never far, just outside of polite conversational distance, various places downtown. Even up here, just outside of polite conversational distance. Near enough where if you want to see them, you can, but most people choose not to.
I walk over to where she is, kneel down to one knee. Look, why are you sleeping?
She jumps. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be on anybody's territory. This is your flop. I'll go ahead and leave.
No. Why are you sleeping outside? Why not sleep in the shelter?
It ain't safe.
It's safe. I'll give you my word. It's safe there.
How can you say that? There are more drug addicts that start showing up, and then whatever that was that took my memory. That blue-eyed monster you all brought in, and you think that I forgot. He didn't take that from me. I know you're dead.
Quite dead. That is 100% true. However,
you admit it?
My mission is to keep you safe. Keep all of you safe. You can go back into the shelter.
I can go back in the shelter, and you gonna do what you did to that girl to me.
I give you my word.
Yeah, your word. Just like Miss Green's word, huh? Y'all let the monsters in because you don't care as much as you say you do. You just...
We had no choice in that instant. But if you give us another chance, it won't happen again. On that, you have my word. Now come on, let's get something to eat. It's cold out here.
But it's safe. I can see who's coming and who's going. Ain't no police gonna bother me over here.
Did you see what was the car that was parked right there pointing to that area? So it's like a beat up Chevy, something or whatever.
You mean the addicts? More of them coming around lately. I think it's something y'all doing. Mario was right. Better to be safe and be dumb. And there ain't no safety in there no more. Y'all let the monsters in.
We're actually getting the monsters out, so it's actually something a lot different. Now, you can come in. We're definitely cleaning the place up. We did have a few accidents. We're cleaning the place up, so you can take my word for it, or you can wait and watch out here. And when you see that it is safe, you're definitely welcome to come back. First is yours.
Is that how you honestly feel, Simone?
That she can come in, but I can't force her without doing things that wouldn't be much more monstrous. So eventually, the only thing you can do is offer to let her to bring her in. But you can't force her without, doing really bad things.
Well, the reason why I asked is, are you attempting to sway her with guile? Is this how he honestly feels that she would be better inside? Or is he attempting to persuade her that he feels it would be better for her inside?
Well, he honestly feels that it is better inside because
All right. Sounds like a plan.
basement is, a lot less protected.
All right. Sounds like a plan. We'll go ahead and roll charisma and persuasion versus manipulation and persuasion.
All right. So charisma and manipulation, right?
Charisma and persuasion. Because he's being honest. He's attempting to use the force of his personality and his honest truth.
Okay.
Do you have presence? Are you using to augment your
I
personality?
have presence, but my presence doesn't work that way.
Okay. Well, you can scare her back in. You could be the monster. Get you.
Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
So, that being the case, with the heartfelt attempt, to successes, she's very hesitant. She's literally expecting you to jump on her and rape her back into the shelter at this point. But because you're so close and you've already invaded her personal space, in for a penny, in for a pound, better to take it on your feet than to be taken on your back. She stands, trundling her blanket around her, and she begins walking with you back into the shelter. As you all make the door of the shelter, you see that Clyde has made a circuit and he's speaking with a few people. He's waving, talking people down off the ledge, even people who aren't actually on the ledge, and making sure that everyone's okay as best as he can. And at this point, we're going to take a quick 10 minutes, so it'll be 6 after the hour. No, I'm sorry, 8 after the hour. And I'll meet you guys back here in 10, okay?
All right.
All right, sounds good.
Thanks. All right, a minute two. I'm back a little early. Anyone else around?
I'm here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Present.
So, by the way, before I forget, once I bring her inside, I'm still going to go back to patrolling the area.
Okay. But Simone did pick her up on his last circuit once. The once over, the once pass would have been noticing the blanket. The second pass would have gotten him a little closer. Third pass, he would have went ahead and crossed the street to speak with her, making sure that she was the only anomalous thing in the area, paying any semblance of attention. All right. So we're 9 after. Clyde, Hestia.
Silent as the grave.
I don't think they're back yet.
Nope, does not seem to be the case. All right, so we're gonna forego diving back into the morgue just yet. As you lead her back into the shelter, as I stated, you run into Clyde, who's, for lack of a better word, glad-handing his way through the shelter. He has managed to speak with several people. He making sure everybody is situated, everyone has enough to eat, everyone has enough to themselves, enough space, enough time, everyone feels safe. And you see him as you and she enters, and she pauses. He looks from Clyde to you, and there's, without having to guess too much or to intuit her behavior, you've seen that behavior in a lot of people who've entered the shelter. It's when they come face to face with someone who reminds them of or is the person who has caused no small amount of trauma to them. Clyde, you also noticed that look askance, and you realize that she was one of the people that were mind whammied by Newberry after the initial attack a few days ago. Everything went to hell in a handbasket.
Sorry, who is this?
One of the homeless members of the shelter who was there the night when things sideways.
All right, since we are on a roll, I think I can use my last dominate and try to implant a new memory.
Okay, what memory would you like to try to implant?
So I'm gonna start talking with him and what's wrong, friend?
No, everything's fine. Clyde, Mr. P, right? You're a friend of Mrs. Green.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
You seem a bit disheveled.
She looks down at her less than clean but not filthy clothing. The blanket, which has seen better days but has been patched and repatched and patched again. Patched so much that in all actuality there's barely more than 4 inches of the original unrepaired blanket left. But it's warm enough. It helps shield against the wind. This, these old rags, this my evening finery. It's
Yeah, we have blankets inside. You can sleep warm and safe.
Sure thing. Yeah. That's where we were headed.
I tried to slide Pass Clyde towards the kitchen. I got this from Clyde. I try to bring her into the kitchen, get her some food, get her settled, and then meet everybody downstairs in the morgue area.
Clyde, do you go with him?
Yep.
All right. So, getting her settled in, and one of the beds isn't difficult at all, especially being as with the lowered nightly attendance. You broke up there a little bit, but with the lowered attendance, there's not any issues of bed space or anything else. You get her settled in the women's area of the shelter, and you and Clyde begin heading downstairs. As you make it downstairs, Lucio, you, Hestia, and Dizzy were wrapping up the last bits of your conversation, and you see Simone and Clyde enter back in. Now, the reality of time is always a factor, even for mortals such as yourself, or near mortals as yourself. Pressing actions, things that need to be accomplished tonight. Aiden returned just a few moments before Clyde and Simone made it back down, and he's like, "What? Why are you guys worried? I just went to get a bite to eat. Everybody went like stone still and knocked over bloody water and everything. So I thought you guys were maybe needed a rest. You had too much to do tonight. I didn't mean to scare anybody."
Keep in mind that the Haven is the Haven, the homeless shelter is the homeless shelter. They're two separate entities. Moving between the two is to be problematic. Let's not do that.
Yeah. I didn't mean anything. I was a little hungry, and you guys didn't have any chips down here. And no, I know I'm not one to talk, but it's kind of spooky, even with you guys being down here, especially knowing what you all got up to. Like, you didn't see what Clyde did. He literally trained that guy like he was the Capri Sun.
Yeah, like I said, let's not do that again.
Yeah, no, not a problem at all. I literally was just a little hungry. I didn't think that me being away would have done anything. I was trying to get a bite to eat. Like I'm really glad you guys let me stay. I was just, no disrespect meant, like really, real honest.
We'll come back to this later. Alright, what's on the docket for today? What do we need to do? The most pressing thing, we need to handle something really quickly because things are really getting out of hand.
Would it be feasible to go to Winnetka tonight? Or do you think we need to prepare more?
That all depends. Esther says she's going to make a magic bag for us to put stuff in when we need that bag or to let run chest. But at the same time, what's really pressing is I've noticed that there's someone watching our secretly into it. So I'm going to suggest maybe we put a moratorium on using that super secret ether. Just on the edge of the perimeter, there was an old car. It was a Chevrolet lease car. Now that I mentioned that with like multiple people living inside of it, maybe like 3, maybe 4 people, based on the amount of refuse that they left. And so that means that we're being watched and by mortal.
Does this Does that car description sound familiar to Lucio? Because I remember during the play-by-post, he was being followed by a car.
Yes, he was. In fact, his problems of being followed has put him on high alert in regards to that sort of thing. And as much as he wishes that it wasn't remotely connected, without a shadow of a doubt, that sounds suspiciously familiar to the car and cars that he's seen in his wake. Close enough to be a problem, far enough away to not be pressing.
And he still doesn't know who it belongs to.
Correct.
Oh dear. Simone,
Yeah.
is there any reason, as far as you know, that there would be mortals aware of who or what we are?
Rephrase your question for clarity. I'm not sure I understand.
Did we break the masquerade? Do they know that we're vampires? Do they know, or are they watching us because of that?
Have we directly broke the masquerade? Not directly. However, there were moments where the masquerade may have been breached, such as when you were clubbing people, clubbing police officers with a pipe. There were a few times we broke the masquerade fleeing for our lives, but I would say it completely broke the masquerade. I don't think so. Although we did have a lot of police activity around this area, and there's a lot of thin bloods around this area, which is kind of making me nervous.
I'm going to send 2 messages to Arsenio. The first one is just a heads up saying, I might need your help in Winnetka in the near future. The second one reads, also, did Ignacio, it'll read, has Ignacio sent anyone to watch us? Or is anyone supposed to be watching us?
Okay. His present quick response is equally as quick. He sends back a text. So your phone vibrates with his message, and Dizzy, without a shadow of a doubt, he knows something he's not saying. You can read it on his face. It's like the kid that has the answer to the question the teacher just asked, but doesn't want to upstage someone else in the room, or is trying not to be called on.
Dizzy will move to sit next to him and smile at him as nice as she can and be like, so what's up?
Clyde owes me $15. He's gonna let me go get McDonald's.
That's pretty cool. What else is up?
What do you mean? Like, there's a lot going on. Like, you guys are passing out and dropping blood all over the floor, and I'm really, really hungry. So, Clyde, yeah, you got that other 15 so I can go and get some McDonald's?
Sure.
Coolness. Thanks.
Just, you know what? Perhaps we can.
I'll bring back enough for everybody.
No, it's all right. Here you go. Perhaps you can ask for delivery.
I didn't turn on the phone that I got earlier. Diz, you want to walk with me?
Sure, I'll walk with you.
I'll wait until he leaves. Wait until both of them leave.
He looks towards the tunnel that leads back up and out, and then the stairs up into the shelter. Which way
Take
should
the
we
long way.
Okay.
Take the long way.
All right. Cool. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's a good idea.
Once he's gone far enough away, like when I can notice they're like at least 20 meters away. Alright guys, he got to go. Period.
So the way up and out, going through the building, it's clear that he has all but memorized in and out, which immediately, from Dizzy's experience on the road, from Dizzy's experience with her crew, is rarely a good sign. Too many people know their way in and out, especially someone who, while not particularly violent, while not particularly dirty, Aiden is clear that he has had substance abuse problems the majority of his life, and they've continued into his new existence. The similarities between him and the three that were destroyed for attempting to jack the coterie is too much to ignore in Dizzy's way of being, Dizzy's understanding. Especially having relived the last moments of her crew being together. That level of connection with Vice is significantly glaring, especially now. They lived free with the understanding that survival was of the utmost importance and enjoying the moments along the way. It's clear that his whole life has been about enjoying stolen moments. And as you all leave the shelter and begin walking across moors to make that south turn on Ashland to head over to the McDonald's, he begins talking a mile a minute. Look, I know you think that I had something to do, but I really don't. But I don't want to get between them. Like, there's a lot going on. Like, Norris is that dude, but it's not just Norris. There's okay, so like, don't take this out on me, but I'm telling you because you've been really cool, and oh man, look, a couple of weeks ago, before the whole thing out at the party, there was some word going around that there was free work to get and money to be made by keeping an eye on dead folks like us, but like worse than me, like worse than you even, like the guys that like them, like the powerful but not really powerful. And well, part of my job, when I actually had a job, I was keeping a watch on the people that were coming down to the hospital and hitting up the blood bank, and it's a business. It's nothing personal, but sometimes people take it personal. Like those three that Clyde like destroyed. They're part of the problem. Like they're part of the system. It's not really a problem if you're on that side of it, but I see how it would be like stepping on people's toes. But normally we don't even get noticed. So I'm like telling you because you seem cool, and I want to make sure that you're okay. But there's people paying to keep tabs on people that like the group.
Like on this group specifically?
They're one of them. There's another crew down in Boys Town, and there's another crew down in the West Loop, and then there's another group. They're in Hyde Park, but yeah, it's money, man. Like the money goes to. It's not always money. Sometimes it's a pack or two. Sometimes it's the pack of the good stuff. Like it'll be like real good stuff, like the thick stuff. But most times it's money, and nobody notices us, man. Like the people. The one person that notices us is that blonde chick that hangs out with the with the black kid that's in the band, baby chorus. When they're not around, we just kind of disappear into the background, and we could be like literally like this close, and you guys won't even know. And so we just keep tabs, like we would just watch, and then we run information back to. There's a lot of dealers that are in the same business, and so you'll trade it. But since that big party, like 6-7 months ago, it was like some big party they threw. It was like huge. Like it was all over. We use Byte. I don't know if you use Byte. You did you ever use Byte?
No, I don't know that one.
Well, it's like TikTok and Snapchat combined into one thing. And so you're able to send a message that disappears, but the person on the other end will get it, and they'll be able to replay it for a couple of times, and then it disappears. There's no trace of it, so you don't have to worry about it.
You can see where that would be handy.
And so you save it to your drafts, and then you put it out there, and then they'll either Venmo or Cash App. Sometimes they'll meet you in person, and that's how a lot of us get by, because we don't have all the superpowers. We can't read people's minds. We can't punch through walls or leap over buildings or disappear into nothingness, or so it's how we get by. Plus it's a good way to make money.
So let me ask you this then. Do you feel like, knowing that we have these powers to read your mind or punch your face into dust or run way faster than you or any of that stuff you just mentioned, do you feel like it's a good idea to spy on us because maybe we know you're spying on us?
Me personally, I only did it the one time, but I know with the way that especially the new guy Lucy, I know the way that he keeps looking at me. Like, I know he don't really want me there, so I don't want to do anything that like gets anybody attention looking at me. I'm just telling you because you've been cool, and so I don't want anybody to think bad of me. Like, I'm not still doing that. Like I said, I only did it the one time, and I was really hurting, man. It was so hard. I was hurting real bad, and so I had to get for me and my lady. So that was a good way to get the money together so that we can actually get split a bag. Normally, all we take is like a bag a night, sometimes 2 if it's a Good Friday. But
well, here's the thing, man. 2 things actually. The first is you're not suited for this line of work. You're like way too twitchy. You're way too sketchy. You're like every junkie I've ever met in my life. and you draw attention to yourself, and then everyone doesn't trust you. And the second thing is I've got a lot of holes, and you're gonna need to probably fill them in and come clean with this group, or they're gonna hunt you down. And I mean, like, we're cool. I got no problem with you. Whatever you did before I got here. But in principle, you know, it's a bad thing, and I'm not gonna stand in their way.
Yeah, but if I tell them everything, then they're gonna blame me. They're gonna, and I already saw what Clyde's gonna do. I really don't want to be like a Capri Sun.
Well, I mean, that was an isolated incident. They were a direct threat. You didn't bring them here, did you?
Them? No, I barely even know them.
But you did know them.
I recognize them. We just like you guys got like different gangs. Like you were talking about the Jewish vampires and then the Catholic vampires, and
I don't think that's a thing. I think you're misunderstanding that.
they did say keeping the Sabbath, which is like a Jewish thing. And then the guy that would, like Norris, I know he looks like a priest, like one of those priests from like those 70 movies where they get all hot and bothered and they fall in love with the divorced woman. And then there's always a rainstorm, and then him breaking his vows, and they doing all sorts of things on the beach riding horses.
You've had way too much time to think about this. Anyhow, think of it more as, I don't know, big giant gangs, but it has nothing to do with being Jewish or Catholic or anything like that.
But yeah, so we got similar things, except for it's based on sides of town. Like, with where I stay, out all the way out south, there's only 2. But then downtown, there are 3 different groups. And then north side has 10. Those guys are part of the dudes they hang out in Boys Town normally. They call themselves the Rough Riders, and yeah, it's a horrible joke and a pun, but they call themselves the Rough Riders. You'll see them with their little, it didn't look like much, but those shoes they were wearing, those steel toes, those motherfuckers hurt. And so I recognized what they were. I didn't recognize them specifically.
Okay, so what is it that you're not telling me?
The people that fucked us up in Dalton, well, not you, but me and my girl, they got their own crew that's been making its way into Chicago. The promise is, like, if they do a good enough job at whatever they're being told to do, then they'll get a bump up. They'll be made real vampires, not just like what we are, but more like what you guys are. And
let me guess, this is all coming out of Winnetka?
no, ain't nobody in the suburbs. Suburbs is dead. This is all coming out of Indiana. This crew.
I know exactly who we're talking about then.
Yeah, this crew's out of Indiana, and they work real hard. They keep tabs on even a lot of us. Sometimes they even help that blonde chick, that crazy ass blonde chick that comes around and starts killing folks. They sometimes even help her. Like, they'll point people out. They'll rat us out to her so she hunts us down. Me and my girl were only able to stay low because we only deal with certain people for a certain amount of time. That thing in Dalton, that was supposed to be a once a year, maybe once every couple of months, little get together, because we normally are not invited. We normally don't even find out about it until it's already happened.
Well, clearly that was the setup, because I don't even live here and I knew about it.
So, if I tell them all this, you think they're not going to look at me bad? They'll let me stay at least a little bit, right?
I mean, they already look at you bad.
Okay, look at me worse.
I mean, they probably will, but honesty goes a long way. Already, the Lucio doesn't trust you. I am not sure if I should trust you.
Yeah, but I've been square with everybody. I just ain't said nothing. I ain't lie. It just didn't tell nobody because Not my place. It's not, I don't want to get involved in none of that. I just want to lay low and go find my girl, and then we can go back to disappearing. Nobody's gonna even know we're around anymore.
I don't know if you can go back now. I mean, you're working for these scumbags. You're on the grid now, dude.
But that was just one time. It was only one time, and it was because we were desperate. I was between paychecks, and we were low. And I don't know. Have you seen what happens if you guys don't get blood when you need it?
I mean, if you stand on the corner and sell your ass just one time, you're still a whore.
I ain't never sold ass.
It's a metaphor, dude.
So you want a Travi meal?
I mean, if I was gonna eat something, it wouldn't be McDonald's. I assure you.
Yeah, let me get one Travi meal and then a $3 bundle. You want a shake?
No, I'm good. Seriously. In fact, I'm sloshing from the beer earlier. I need to take care of that at some point.
So needless to say, you guys get at McDonald's and start making your way back to the Haven. As you guys get back into the Haven, whatever you guys decided in regards to your course of action, what's the plan moving forward? Means you guys had the opportunity to further plan.
Was that for everyone or just Dizzy?
While Dizzy and Aiden stepped away, you guys had the opportunity to make plans or at least finalize where you guys are headed as a group. What have you guys decided in that time?
Well, I think somebody was gonna take a thing.
As far as the lodestone, we have to wait for Ashley to get the box together. So we were putting that to the side and looking at the next order of business. And while they were gone, I was kind of telling them that I'm getting a lot of input about how Eden is bringing about a bad vibe around the place. So we need to really figure out what to do with that.
Hess, Lucio, what are you guys input in that regards? Clyde? Simone's putting forward that you all need to do something about Aiden.
I'm sorry, can you finish that? What were you gonna say?
Well, Simone's putting forth you all need to do something about Aiden as a first primary. What are you guys' suggestion in that regard?
Funny that the person that rescued him and brought him home with us is not here one way or the other to put input in. Have you heard from Alex, Simone?
Yes, he sent me a text message while you were working on that spell. He said he was on his way here. He just got here yet. He's driving in probably from Indiana. Because from my understanding, I'm thinking that he got kidnapped by Modian.
Kidnapped by Modius.
Yeah, that's what happens when you kidnap somebody. You actually forcibly grab them, and usually, if you have like something to put in their mouth, you do. But other times you can just kind of grab them and put them in the car and take them away.
Yeah, and this is the person that you're supposed to do a favor to later on. He kidnaps somebody that we are working with or care about in any way, and you're working for him later on. You owe him a favor now.
Yes, but he's letting him go, hence the on his way back part.
So the next person to get kidnapped, we're just supposed to like let that go. You
Kind of
see how you
depends.
sound right now?
Kind of depends on the reason they get kidnapped. I mean, there's very good reason to kidnap people. It's good reason to kidnap people periodically. Not all the time, but sometimes there is a very valid reason to kidnap somebody.
I look at Lucio. You see why I can't talk to him? He makes no fucking sense.
And
Don't drag me into this. This is between you two.
and as you guys are saying, that Aiden and Dizzy are back. Him with a bag of McDonald's that, even if you were human, would definitely smell like McDonald's. It's literally the bargain basement is affectionately known as ghetto rations.
Who got kidnapped?
Oh, Alexander, he got kidnapped, but he's on his way back, so he should be here sooner or later.
Okay. So anyway, Aiden has some things he wants to tell you while he eats his Happy Meal.
Before he does, Aiden, can I have a fry?
Yeah, man. I got two orders of fries. Have you tried dipping them in a shake yet? It's fucking great.
Wait, in the shake?
In the shake, you use the fry to scoop up a little bit of the shake.
It's like salty.
I'll live a little. I'll try it.
It is good. It is definitely an acquired taste. It is not as great as he says, especially being as you know for a fact that as good as it is going down, that the eventuality before the sun rises, that it will be evacuating the same way.
It's good to remember that taste. At least a little bit of the old life. Alright, continue, Aiden.
I wasn't gonna say anything because it's not my business and I don't do this. But one of the easy ways for us to make money, like not my version of dead, not your version of dead, is there are contracts you could take. They're not really contracts, they're just agreements, and then depending on what side of town you're on, what your job is, you can keep watch on certain dead like you, not dead like me, not dead like the. And I know you guys don't really mean that they're Jewish, but how you said the Jewish vampires that keep the Sabbath, you guys don't realize that we're standing right next to you more times than not. So we keep tabs, we keep a watch, and we send what we find out, even if it's just the fact that okay, they're wearing blue today, or they're wearing black today, or they're in a black car, or nothing in, like, we don't go sneaking in people's houses. Well, at least I didn't the one time that I did it. And then we get money. Sometimes a blood pack or two, sometimes a combination or two. Usually the money's Venmo to you or cash out, but if they want to meet in person, then you get money, or you get the blood pack right then and there. And so those guys, well, what's left of those guys, they were part of a crew on this side of town. Well, not this side of town, but a little bit further south. You know, down in Boys Town. Everybody make fun of them because they call themselves the Rough Riders, but they're not really Rough Riders. But so you talking about being watched by cars? Probably one of the people that are dead like me. I didn't want to say anything because I don't want you guys looking at me like that. I know, with the clothes, like, it's not my normal gear, it's not my normal drip, but I'm really not like that. Like, my hustles, my grinds, or because of my job, And then if I get desperate, then I'll steal something. I'm not gonna, put myself in the line of fire. But it's kind of dangerous where I live, especially now with North knowing that I'm there. So I didn't want you guys to look at me bad to kick me out.
Now, you said
So,
the vampires are having people like you watch people like us.
Yeah.
Flame Bloods or vampires?
We prefer Dustborn, but yeah.
No, I mean a contractor.
I don't honestly know whether he's dead like you guys or dead like me. I'm not supposed to know this, but my girl found out that the person on the other end of the bite. Well, I don't. You guys use bite? It's like TikTok and Snapchat all rolled into one, and so you can record or like normally you're just talking to the phone yourself, and then you forward it, and then you get the Venmo or you ask to meet. But anyway, my girl had thought about doing it again, but she wanted to do a little research to find out who we're talking to, and well, it's this dude all the way in the way out there, south side. He's further south than we live, and everybody call him Mookie. Well, Mook.
But you know him?
Indirectly. I'll explain once Aiden's finished.
That's really it. Like I just didn't want you guys to like look at me like that's not what I do. I did it one time, and I haven't done it again, and that was months ago. And we've been good. We've been making enough money. We've been doing enough hustles on the side, so we haven't got desperate. Like my girl, she's dead like you guys, but when she gets hungry, oh my god, there is no living with that woman at all. It's impossible. She almost ate our landlord.
I pull up on my phone the number and address that I recorded from those guys in the street, and I show it to Aiden, and I ask, is this familiar to you?
Yeah, Mook. Yeah, that's where everything goes. That we're not supposed to know that, but my girl, she can. When she sits down and talks to you, like the whole world fades away. She can get anything she wants out of you when she's in those moods.
Hestia, do you remember earlier tonight when I first came back and I was talking about like all the shit that I was doing?
Mm-hmm.
And you also remember how I said that I had to deliver some sensitive information to the Blood Tsar?
Yeah, I remember that too.
That sensitive information is what I told you, which is that house that I went to is the house that Mook operates out of, apparently. And apparently he's part of some bunch of government organizations, something I believe called Searchlight. Oh, and that's also the same building that I saw my grandsire standing next to him in, aka the Sabbat.
When you say AKA the Sabbat, Aiden stares at Dizzy like, see? Everybody keep talking about the Jewish vampire.
It's not Jewish, man. That's just what they call themselves. It's like the Dodgers. They dodge things.
Yeah, they dodge home runs.
So it seems to me, well, there's definitely a connection with the Sabbat, but it seems to me like they're using Mook as a proxy of sorts to gather information and possibly reward them with some blood, which, by the way, they are getting through some rather gruesome means. I had the displeasure of being able to witness that.
Well, here's the thing that Aiden told me that he's conspicuously left out. He casts a sidelong glance at him. Apparently, there's another gang of, I guess, his type moving in from Indiana, and they've promised them to make them full vampires if they do their job right.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I get it. You got the McDonald's brush thing going on. It's fine.
Those poor ignorant idiots. That's not how it works. Once you are thin blood, I highly doubt that you can become anything more. But I'd have to research. Pretty sure though, what makes somebody a thin blood is that they are too far removed down the sire line to become a full vampire.
Yeah, but if I ask you to do something and tell you I'm going to give you $100, there's no guarantee that I'm going to give you $100.
Especially since you'll be dead by the time you collect, because most of these people just can't bother.
So, thing is, if
no,
Mook is keeping track on us, somebody's making a move soon.
Yes. Lucio, you were stating the Castiglione and that one, the mobster guys.
Yes, the Castiglione and Tori. We gotta try and get a meeting with them soon. Preferably within the next day or two. Before I get to that, I just wanted to say, in that when I was spying on Laura and Mook, they did mention this little deal with making the Thin Bloods full vampires. Sounds to me like they essentially plan on letting them eat some other vampires.
And I'm sure that's not like in a friendly way.
Well, no, not at all.
That could work, actually. That could work.
But yeah, in regards to the Castiglione and Tories, they're the ones who are. They're essentially the vanguard of the Putanesca, I should say. They're the main operation here. And then I have no idea what the hell's going on with Don now being back in town. I'm going to send another text to, actually, before I send it. Hestia, Simone, Dizzy, Clyde, when should we meet with Ignacio? I want to set a definitive date.
Who's Ignacio? Is that the prince?
No, the prince is Jackson. Ignacio's just the stuck-up, pompous prick who is the heir to Castiglione and Tori. Although, if Don's back in town, I don't really know how much power he would have anymore. If.
Well, I mean, we need to prepare, but I think as sooner the better.
How does tomorrow night sound?
Don't you want to get the box tomorrow?
How how does the night after sound?
Actually,
Yeah, I think.
I didn't hear what you said.
See how that goes, and then head to Winnetka after the meeting.
Meeting first, then Winnetka?
Yes, we don't have a lot of days left to sort all of the problems that we have.
That is
We're gonna
true.
have to make this as condensed as possible, because after all of that, we still need to finish the job that we were given, and I need to go to the Chantry House so that we can get their protection.
That
I
reminds
need backup.
you get backup from me after whatever you need. But when are we gonna get around to killing your favorite Malkavian?
That's what I said. We have to finish the job we were given, and then I will go to the Chantry.
Okay. Because that'll solve a lot of problems. A lot of problems.
And I just want to throw it on the table that if you guys got a van or some plates, I could steal a van. We could be in Minneapolis by Wednesday.
That's option C.
We'll keep it in mind. I send the message to Arsenio. Tell Aggie that we need to meet tomorrow night.
His response is just as prompt. Your phone has not cashed out. It hasn't given you any causes for worries. His response, however, which is, yeah, sure thing. I'll text him as soon as I get off the phone with you. ... Why is there a black van over here?
Over where? I respond.
I came back to your place when you said you might need me and parked out front of your parking garage. Across the street here, out the back, there's a black van. It says Frank's Boutique Insurance.
I mentioned this to everyone. So apparently Frank's Boutique Insurance is parked outside my house in a black van, spying on it. I respond to him. Don't come to the house. We're not going to Winnetka tonight. We'll meet again tomorrow.
He sends a picture. The picture is from inside the parking garage next to the hospital that you all use to park your vehicles as well as the shelter's vehicle. Out the back, literally on the other end of the block where it points out towards, there is a black van with Frank's Boutique Insurance on the side. He didn't.
I'm sorry, continue.
He didn't go to your home. He went to the last place he dropped you off, which was the shelter, but he parked in the garage to wait near at hand.
Oh, okay. My misunderstanding. In that case, I retract what I previously said. And instead I show the image to Simone.
In the garage, I can handle this. Anybody want to run back up, just in case I run into us? Let's be serious. I'm not going to run into any problem. Anybody want to come help you drag bodies?
I mean, as appealing as that sounds.
Yeah, why not?
Do I have Norris's number now?
Whose number?
I think he might have gave me a card.
Whose number?
Norris's.
Yes.
I take a picture of Lucio's phone with my phone and send it forward and ask, "This one of yours?" Question mark.
Two capital letters N-O. And that's it.
Well, it's not Norris, so it's somebody else.
I'm gonna sneak around back, have everybody wait about maybe 100 feet, about 200 feet or so. I'm gonna sneak around, get to the van, and just slip right in through the back door and proceed to beat the hell out of everybody in that van.
All right, so we have our goals for the start of next week's session with the plan in place as to what happens next. We have the outline of several pressing issues and their order of operations for the coterie to take care of and to accomplish. We have messages sent far and wide, and we have an understanding as to some of the many forces aligned against the coterie. But most importantly, I want to thank you all for a lovely session, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
All right. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.